Chapter 71 The Mysterious Big Brother in the City, Suyi's Sense of Crisis. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I don't know. The nephew shook his head, his face full of confusion. I just heard about it, but I didn't ask in detail. I know something. Wang Dania suddenly spoke, lowering his voice. It is said that there is a big brother in the city center, who holds a lot of resources and has been expanding outward. This big brother seems to be very powerful and has strong means, but he is particularly short of people, otherwise he would not send people to buy people with food. It is said that the military advisor who asked the 4 groups to stop fighting was also sent by his subordinates, who was responsible for finding more people to join him. This buddy came to the police station to meet me some time ago. He is a very gentle college student and wanted to recruit me, but I didn't agree. But from what he said, these 4 groups seem to have some intention to go to the city center, as if they have been persuaded by him to join the big brother. After Wang Daniu finished speaking, the chief of staff suddenly asked, "The big brother in the city center? Little White Bear? Chief of staff, you even know Little White Bear? Be serious. Answer the question." Yes. Wang Daniu nodded excitedly, then shook his head and said, "I don't know if it's Little White Bear, but I don't think it's. The most powerful person in the city now is Little White Bear. Well, a guy showed up a few days ago and stole Little White Bear's limelight, but Little White Bear's strength is really not weak, and everyone basically knows him. If it's really Little White Bear, then Big Brother is short of people, and he will definitely use this reputation to promote it. This world is in chaos, and many people who can't survive will definitely cling to the Big Brother's legs to survive. Even if Little White Bear may be more brutal, it's better than starving to death or dying of heat." As soon as Wang Daniu finished speaking, the chief of staff nodded. It seems that it's not Little White Bear, it's another group of people. Sui has been listening behind the scenes. He can see the movements of the entire army through the monitoring perspective of Lin Yu's command vehicle, and can easily hear the conversation between the chief of staff and Wang Daniu. It's true that he doesn't look like Little White Bear. His development path is to destroy shelters, and destroying shelters doesn't require so many helpers. Sui touched his chin and suddenly laughed. This Little White Bear must have been quite frustrated recently. He had been the number 1 on the list for so long, but suddenly Sui took it away in a few days. Although Sui's points have been used up and he is no longer the number 1, this incident has also reminded the survivors in the city. There are still many survivors in the city. Many of them have passed the most difficult early stage with the help of national rewards. Now many survivors are gradually developing and their talents are gradually taking effect. The number 1 Little White Bear on the list may not be the strongest survivor in the city, he is just the most popular, but there must be survivors stronger than Little White Bear among the people lurking under the water, and Sui believes that this number is definitely not small. To take the simplest example, Sui has never received any relevant intelligence information about the mysterious big brother in the city center. You should know that Sui is a nerd who has nothing to do all day. He checks the city chat channel interface more frequently than anyone else. So many days have passed, and no survivor in the city chat channel has discussed this matter, or revealed even the slightest information about the distribution of forces of the survivors in the city center. This is very strange, which shows that the mysterious guy's means are extraordinary. Maybe it's not just him. Looking at the chat channel recently, it seems that many talents have begun to exert their strength, and many people have emerged. At present, the only place where I have a clear advantage is the level of the shelter. As for the rest, it's hard to say. Although the combat power of the 500-man army is very strong, what if there is an SSS-level combat talent in Jinling? These 500 people may not be enough. Sui pondered deeply. Through his own SSS-level talent, he could roughly understand that the power of the other SSS-level talents must be good. Home of the Otaku is a typical late-stage talent, which can only become more and more powerful, but it may not be very eye-catching in the early stage. If he encounters an SSS-level talent that is awesome in the early stage, Sui feels that he may not be able to withstand the other party's prying and hostility. This is not good. I don't know the talent situation of the whole city, and I still feel a sense of crisis. Sui sighed deeply. While he was thinking, Wang Dania had already picked up the military loudspeaker, stood on the roof of the military vehicle, and began to shout loudly along the street. The army has entered the city. The rescue operation has been launched. All armed elements lay down their weapons and accept investigation. All living survivors, please contact us actively. To ensure the unified management and material support of more survivors, we are about to take over all the material locations in this block. If there are thugs who resist, they will be shot on the spot. Don't say I didn't warn you. Wang Dania shouted passionately and felt refreshed. Damn, I didn't expect that I could be a soldier one day. This feeling is really great. These words of shouting were given to Wang Dania by the Chief of Staff. First, draw the bottom line of the army, show the strength of the army, deter the villains and give potential enemies a way out, don't push people to death. If you insist on saying that they are terrorists or thugs, that will force everyone to fight you, first give a name to the militants, don't emphasize the hostility of the army too much, and emphasize the nature of the army's rescue and collection of supplies. In this way, the hostility and vigilance of most forces can be effectively reduced. Special times call for special measures. The Chief of Staff held up a telescope and stood at the gun port of a military vehicle, looking at the buildings. In the surrounding blocks, he could occasionally see a window open with a figure swaying inside, as if someone was peeping and observing the military vehicles driving on the block. Because the road was full of abandoned cars and debris, the army was not moving very fast. While the soldiers were clearing obstacles, they also left enough time for the survivors in the block to think and observe. Chief of Staff, why don't we attack by surprise? If we come out so openly, we will be targets. What if someone shoots us in the back? We won't be able to find where the enemy is. After Wang Dania finished shouting, he asked the Chief of Staff anxiously. The Chief of Staff glanced at him calmly. You have 3 times the physical fitness and 3 times the self-healing ability. Are you afraid of pistol bullets? Not particularly afraid, but it hurts. Wang Dania touched his head. I'm afraid our soldiers will suffer. Don't be afraid of suffering. Whoever shoots can see it. The Chief of Staff paused, but still said, our snipers have been deployed and monitored along the way, and can counterattack and lock the enemy's position in time. In addition, every soldier wears a bulletproof vest and has an armored vehicle as a cover. The most important thing is, this is the commander's decision. Chief of Staff looking at the command vehicle, he said in a deep voice, Captain Lin said that we are a righteous army and we must act openly and honestly. If we are timid in rescuing and collecting supplies, what kind of words are we talking about? Can the survivors who see us doing this still trust us? Those thugs in hiding will think we are easy to bully. Only by being open and generous can we deter the scoundrels. The Chief of Staff's words made Wang Dania very convinced. Yes, 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 I am not conscious enough. Who are we? How can we do those things in the gutter? Wang Dania just thinks that soldiers should be open and aboveboard and do things openly. He didn't know that this was actually Lin Yu's strategy. She made full use of the Chinese people's deep impression of the army and implemented the style of the local army. The more open and aboveboard, the more frightening the potential thugs will be. After all, who wouldn't be suspicious of such a fully armed army walking on the road openly? Even if there are talented people who are strong enough to deal with this army, would they dare to take action? Are you sure that these less than 300 soldiers are the entire military force, not a vanguard squad? Think about the terrifying number of the Chinese army, 300 people. I'm afraid it's just a vanguard that enters the city first. If these 300 people are killed, what if they provoke tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people behind? It's still a joke. No matter how powerful the talent is, it can't beat an army of this size at this stage. Modern people are not stupid, especially in the face of the forced deterrence of the regular army. Everyone will have doubts in their hearts, not to mention, Lin Yu's set of procedures is quite effective. Half an hour passed, and no black gun appeared at all. Instead, many survivors came out of the residential buildings one after another and ran towards the army excitedly. Chapter 72 The people have faith, and the army has strength. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is it the People's Liberation Army? Is it the People's Army? Mom, the soldiers are here. Let's go downstairs. Brother soldier. Comrade. Come on, I'm a refugee. I'm a refugee. Woo woo woo, I'm saved. It's really a soldier. Damn it, those beasts killed my wife. Survivors emerged from the residential buildings where they were hiding. They rushed to the military vehicles from all directions under the scorching sun. Stop and accept the survivors. Lin Yu's cold order came from the intercom. The military vehicle slowed down. The prepared staff and soldiers greeted them and handed over the few food and water. Some soldiers even held the ice water that Leia had adjusted. Although the cooling effect was gone, it was still cold and cool. Lin Yu, you are so generous. Sui smiled bitterly, but he didn't stop it. The supplies in the gathering place were still sufficient. In addition, Sui himself had a strong talent and was not troubled by the lack of supplies. Naturally, he acquiesced to Lin Yu's behavior of distributing supplies to rescue the survivors. He had already considered letting Lin Yu lead the troops. This woman is indeed kind, but if not, how can she implement Jiang Xiaozi's identity succession strategy and win people's trust? If people cannot win people's trust, let alone realize Jiang Xiaozi's power expansion and personnel expansion plan, it is impossible to realize the huge power protection network for Sui. The survivors wolfed down the food handed over by the soldiers while crying about the suffering they had suffered during this period. Thank you, thank you. You are finally here. I have been looking forward to you for a long time. I knew it. I knew that you would definitely show up in a disaster. You really will come, you will definitely come. I have waited, I finally waited. I knew I couldn't give up, no matter how long it takes, you will definitely come. There were constant cries from the crowd. In just half an hour, more than 100 survivors gathered near the military vehicle, and more survivors saw that everyone was fine and ran downstairs. Amid the cries of the crowd, the soldiers and staff officers comforted them softly. Lin Yu had already reminded the whole army to treat civilians well and take care of the survivors along the way as much as possible, but there were also survivors who didn't seem to be hungry or eat, but just kept asking questions. Are we under martial law? What will happen next? Is the main force in the city? Is this doomsday real? What's the matter with the sun? Do you know about things like shelters? What does the country say? Now the whole city has no electricity, and there is no news. Is this the case with our country? Is it an alien attack? Is there enough people in the army? I want to join the army, I want to beat him up. It's strange, these people are not afraid of the fully armed soldiers at all. That clinging energy is like seeing their own parents, and they keep sticking to them. This is the charm of identity. If the survivors see the thugs with guns, they will run as far as possible, for fear of being in trouble. But if you see a large army in military uniforms and driving a military vehicle, as long as you basically confirm their identities, then everyone will not be afraid at all, because this is an army that will never harm the people, and it is an army that defends the people. In the legal theory of the country, this is the people's army, or it can be said that everyone's own army. Will anyone be afraid of their own army? The answer is no. It's just that the big guys are doing this, and the soldiers are a little flustered and can't handle it. Faced with many sensitive issues, the soldiers can only give a unified answer. It's a confidential matter, so I can't say it for the time being, but I will definitely try my best to ensure everyone's safety. The soldiers are very patient. Although they are a little busy dealing with more and more survivors, they are very fulfilled in their hearts. This feeling of being unconditionally trusted by ordinary people is almost the best compliment to every soldier, and it is also the top military medal. As long as the crowd approaches the military vehicle, the sense of security in their hearts is directly exploded, which cannot be described in words. Almost everyone swept away the haze in their hearts, and their hearts were much more at ease. Some people even saw Wang Daniu in military uniform and couldn't help but be surprised and laughed loudly. Fuck. I know that guy, didn't he occupy the police station? He's here too. He must have been arrested. That if it were normal, who would dare to talk to Wang Daniu like this? But where is it now? What's the scene now? In front of the army, the sky is big, the earth is big, and the people are the most important. I am the people, so I dare to talk like this. Fuck. Wang Daniu stared and retorted loudly, look at my clothes, I am an officer now. What do you mean arrested? This is a special period. I joined the army. I serve the country. Oh, you can join the army too. There was laughter in the crowd. Oh, the bandit leader has also been summoned, you have to behave well, otherwise you will be in jail. Can you speak? Wang Daniu was anxious. He was afraid of this. If he really came to peacetime and his merits and demerits could not offset each other, he would definitely be finished. Wang Daniu, the chief of staff shouted, pay attention to your attitude. Pay attention to your identity. Oh, yes, Wang Daniu scratched his head and rolled his eyes at the crowd, I will definitely behave well and accept the supervision of the people. Who is afraid of whom? I will definitely not eat jail food. The crowd suddenly burst into laughter, and the air was full of a happy atmosphere, dispersing the haze and confusion under the high temperature. More and more survivors appeared, which did slow down the army's marching speed, but Lin Yu did not order to continue to start the military vehicles. Instead, he asked many soldiers to get off the vehicles and give the position of the troop carriers to older people, children and women. The male survivors were also very conscious and took the initiative to cooperate, take care of the weak in the crowd, and take the initiative to stand next to the soldiers, although they did not know any tactical formations and did not know how to guard the surroundings. They at least knew that they could not make trouble. We can't help, but we can't be a burden, right? Of course, there are also some survivors who are self-righteous and talented. They took the initiative to find the chief of staff and others and asked to join the army to contribute their own strength. Everyone's idea is simple. Everyone contributes a little bit of effort to get rid of this damn doomsday as soon as possible, and live a good life again. Wang Daniu occasionally knows some of the stronger survivors in the crowd who are slightly famous in the neighborhood, and he can't help but feel surprised. It's really strange. Those big brothers recruited you, but you didn't take it seriously and fought with them. Why are you so active now, and you can't wait to fight on the battlefield? Being a soldier is very hard. If you don't want to eat delicious food and drink spicy drinks, you may have to sleep on the street. Wang Daniu's teasing was quickly refuted with sharp language. Is this a big deal? My life is not a disgrace to the country, but what's the use of it to those desperate criminals? My life is valuable. I won't sell it to anyone. I joined the army, which is called loyalty to the country. Do you, a country bumpkin, understand what is the righteousness of the country? I am happy to do this. The bandits take me to eat delicious food, drink spicy drinks, sleep with women, but I am not happy. I want to be a soldier and suffer hardships, and I am happy in my heart. Don't talk to this idiot, he doesn't know what spiritual belief is. Wang Daniu was so angry that he grimaced after hearing these taunts. Don't show off. When you become soldiers, I don't need to be polite to you. I am a good family, you are a bandit leader who was summoned to the court, can it be the same? Fuck. Wang Daniu rolled his eyes, can we not mention the bandit leader? Chapter 73. Wherever the soldiers go, the bandits will flee. With justice in hand, it's easy to. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Faced with many survivors' requests to join the army, Lin Yu did not agree immediately. She also has her own worries. If the army is filled with too many untalented soldiers, how can the army's loyalty and system be guaranteed? This thing cannot entirely rely on people's consciousness. Even if you want to be a soldier, you must receive training and ideological edification, and you must continue to grow day and night before you can be effective. Training for 1,000 days can only be used in a moment. Lin Yu did not dare to make a decision easily, so he could only send people to appease the people and promise to provide channels and opportunities to join the army in the future. As for now, the most important thing is to collect supplies, accept survivors, and figure out the actual situation in these blocks. Fortunately, although the number of this group of survivors gradually increased, and the number of survivors who came to find the army along the way tended to exceed 1,000, they did not become a burden. They were very conscious. After properly arranging the old and weak people, the adult men consciously followed the team in a group. He didn't make any noise, stayed out of the sun, and didn't casually ask for food or drink from the troops until the critical moment. At this moment, the endurance in the bones of the Chinese people was brought into full play. The army has discipline and the people have consciousness. In special times, of course, we must be more conscious and try not to cause trouble to the army. In the next half hour, Lin Yu drove the military vehicle team directly to the entrance of the snack street. According to Wang Daniu's intelligence information, the two large supermarkets in the current block have basically been emptied of food and drinking water, leaving only some inedible daily necessities and home appliances. It is unclear whether there is any place for food, just a few small cold storages. One of the cold storage warehouses is located in a restaurant chain in the snack street. Faced with the collection of many materials, Lin Yu naturally has to ensure the collection of food first. According to Wang Daniu, those waves of thugs included people who had the means to generate electricity, and they secured the refrigeration facilities for the cold storage as soon as the apocalypse broke out. This matter is not a secret, it is widely circulated among the survivors in the surrounding neighborhood. Although the power generation talent only mastered one cold storage, the remaining cold storages also relied on him for power generation, and they had to pay tribute to him at regular intervals to ensure that the power was maintained. Team Lin, Wang Daniu just said that there may be a group of people near the cold storage and they have been occupying the cold storage. Well, let's send people to explore the road first, and then the subsequent combatants will advance in a street fighting formation. Lin Yu ordered in a cold voice that she could not give up collecting supplies just because there were thugs ahead. Su Yi had just told her that Jiang Xiaozi had already driven out all the trucks from the gathering place. Some of them went to the police station to take over supplies, and some of the empty trucks were already on the way to chase the military vehicles. Lin Yu did not allow himself to return empty-handed, which was irresponsible to the many survivors in the gathering place. Wang Daniu, that the chief of staff put down the walkie-talkie and called Wang Daniu, who was secretly bragging and spanking with the survivors. Arrive, Wang Daniu responded in a loud voice, and the chief of staff ordered, take your men and lead the charge. Enter the snack street. Whether you can atone for your sins depends on your performance. Snipers and follow-up soldiers will support you at any time. Once you encounter an enemy, you have the right to decide whether to kill them on the spot. Remember, you are mine now, so be bold in what you do. If you are tricked by someone, it will also be my shame. Yes, Wang Daniu's face was filled with excitement. He turned around and took a few young people from the same village with him and dived directly into the snack street. Military glory is right in front of you. Wang Daniu was eager to meet his enemies more than anyone else. He thought that he would have to kill a few villains to better prove his worth and loyalty. The originally bustling snack street was now in a mess and chaos. There were messy tables and chairs and oil stains everywhere. The smell was overwhelming, and all kinds of small flying insects were flying in the sky. This place has not been cleaned for a long time and has long since become a place of stench. Wang Daniu could even see scattered human corpses lying on the street while walking. Some of them starved to death while searching for supplies, and some had obvious injuries from fighting to death. The entire snack street no longer has the fireworks smell of the past, but looks a bit dull and scary under the red sun. Wang Daniu took the lead. Relying on his super physical fitness, he was not afraid of the black guns that might be hidden in the dark. The soldiers behind Wang Daniu also entered the scene quickly, using a coordinated tactical formation to continuously inspect and search the complex terrain of the snack street, and constantly inspect the buildings and stores on both sides of the street. Strangely enough, hundreds of soldiers poured into the snack street, but no living human beings were found, not to mention the enemy. Not even the survivors were discovered, until Wang Daniu took the lead to walk to the large chain restaurant where the cold storage was located and got into it. Wang Daniu's voice came from Lin Yu's walkie-talkie soon. Report. There is no sign of any human activity. It seems that the place is deserted. According to previous intelligence, there should be some people stationed here for a long time to look after the cold storage, but now there is no one inside or outside the building. I checked it carefully to confirm that it was correct, but I found some freshly opened cans on the table. I haven't even taken 2 bites of them. These people must have just escaped not long ago. Wang Daniu asked, "Do you want to pursue me?" "No." Lin Yu shook his head and ordered calmly, "Continue to carefully check the area around the cold storage and be alert to ambushes and sneak attacks. Team 1, Team 2, go in and open the cold storage. The rest of you, spread out around the streets and be on alert. Snipers, keep an eye on the surrounding information." Lin Yu was very cautious. She didn't want to suffer at the hands of a strange talent. Since he ran away and didn't want to face the regular army head-on, she wouldn't chase him. It was important to get the supplies first. After a while, the dull voice of the sniper came from Lin Yu's intercom. Sniper position number 3 found the figure of suspected fleeing thugs. About 20 people were about 800 meters away from the convoy, holding pistols, machetes and other weapons, and were quickly moving away from the snack street. Lin Yu weighed the intercom in his hand, and a faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. I didn't expect that the military identity under the inherited strategy would not only make the survivors trust naturally, but also have the effect of deterring the thugs. These people didn't dare to face Lin Yu's troops head-on. When they found that the target of the military vehicle was the cold storage, they simply abandoned the cold storage and ran away. To be honest, this saved Lin Yu a lot of trouble. All military actions must have military objectives. Killing is not the goal, taking key supplies is Lin Yu's main task. Being able to take the target supplies and population without bloodshed is a scene that Lin Yu is happy to see. In the next 2 hours, Lin Yu sent soldiers to take turns to enter the cold storage to carry supplies. She did not let everyone go in. The terrain of the snack street is complex and narrow. Once the whole army enters and is ambushed by special talents, the loss may be too great. At least half of the troops are left on standby in the open area outside, so that they can not only watch over and take care of the survivors of the team, but also support the front troops at any time. Due to the lack of manpower for carrying, the work of carrying continued until dark. While carrying supplies, the large trucks from the gathering place also slowly drove over, and several soldiers with the team also took in some new survivors on the way. It is worth mentioning that there are more supplies in the cold storage than expected. In addition to the refrigerated poultry and frozen foods that should have been there, there are also a large number of various drinking water and food that were obviously carried from supermarkets, which are stored in the cold storage. These supplies were more than Lin Yu expected. All kinds of food were available, and even basic daily medicines were available. The entire cold storage was filled to the brim. According to a rough estimate, if they were thrifty, they could at least meet the weekly living needs of hundreds of people. They ran away, which was a bargain for us. The chief of staff looked at the soldiers who were constantly carrying supplies, and the smile on his face was very satisfied. We won without fighting, and we got a lot of supplies for free. Wang Daniu, you did a good job this time, and I will remember you. Yes. Wang Daniu was overjoyed and hurriedly called his nephews to join the team carrying supplies. When the supplies were transported, it was already 10 o'clock in the evening. Lin Yu looked at the time and decided to continue collecting supplies around. The army had night vision combat equipment, but the thugs might not have it. Night operations were actually very advantageous for the army. As for the survivors collected along the way, Lin Yu asked them to board the truck and return to the gathering place under the escort of a small number of soldiers. When the survivors returned to the community with the truck, Sister Li and others had already set up several registration tables, with electric fans blowing and standing air conditioners next to them. Waiting in the night, as the truck slowly drove into the community, more and more survivors got out of the cars. At first glance, they saw survivors like them coming from all directions. Without saying a word, these people got on the car and started to carry supplies. There were men and women, old and young in the crowd. Most of them had ruddy faces and neat clothes. They talked and laughed with each other while carrying various materials and items up and down, and then stored them in categories under the arrangement of the specialist. Things that are not resistant to high temperatures should be placed in the building with electricity first. Don't make a mistake. Put the ones that are durable over here. Hey. Don't put them randomly. Who? Put them down. Don't eat them secretly. Little bastard, whose child is this? Why are you so greedy? Didn't you have enough food at night? Sorry, son, come here quickly. Don't make trouble. The crowd was noisy, and the entire community entrance was brightly lit and bustling with people. The lively scene made the survivors who had just arrived at the community feel as if they had returned to peacetime. Since the outbreak of the apocalypse, they had never seen so many survivors together. Even if they spied on the clusters of humans by the windows on weekdays, they were all criminals who did evil, not normal people. "Comrade, what?" a young man politely asked the staff nearby. "We are new here, how does the government plan to arrange us?" "Government?" The staff glanced at the material list in his hand and raised his head casually. "I just joined not long ago. This doesn't seem to be a government rescue office. I guess it's a temporary military district, and it's all managed by soldiers. As for the arrangements, you can ask them." The staff raised his hand and pointed, and saw several girls holding up temporary wooden signs, waving them and shouting, "Welcome new refugees. Return to your new home." Chapter 74. In the face of national crisis, we are all high-quality citizens. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Come here and register. Get your ID card. No one without a card is allowed in the community. Everyone should have an ID card, keep it carefully. It is very troublesome to reissue it after losing it, so don't be careless. The new survivors heard the shouts and gathered around obediently. Under the guidance of the girls, they quickly lined up. The long queue continued to the front of Sister Lee and other neighborhood committee workers. Don't whisper to each other while queuing, maintain order on the scene. If you have any questions, ask the staff in front directly. No noise or disturbance will affect the rest of the survivors. They have tasks during the day. We must be well-mannered. Be polite. This whole set of work processes is not complicated at all. It is basically based on the management system in peacetime, and occasionally there are some management systems added by Jiang Xiaozi himself. The whole atmosphere is very familiar to everyone, and even the new survivors can integrate into it immediately. How do I describe this feeling? It's like going home. Hey, just cooperate with the work and be obedient. Don't think about anything, don't worry about anything. Just do whatever you are told to do, and we will take care of your food, drink and safety. Yes. That's the taste, a familiar and reassuring taste. Sister Lee put on a warm and enthusiastic smile on her face again. She saw the new survivors and knew that tonight would be another busy and sleepless night, but she didn't feel tired at all. She could feel that the whole gathering place was getting better little by little, and life was gradually returning to the appearance of peacetime. Although it would still be a bit bitter, tiring and hot, it was better than not having life guaranteed. And during the day, Miss Jiang also gathered several of the elderly and told them about the general plan and arrangements for the future. Under Miss Jiang's promise, every original resident can feel the beautiful future of the gathering place, and can also clearly feel that the management is constantly working hard to take the overall situation into consideration. In times of crisis, Sister Lee felt that as a former grassroots staff member like herself, she should also take responsibility and take the initiative to step forward to solve problems for the leaders. Come on, comrades. Come here. Everyone line up and do the information registration work. These registration contents are similar to what we do in peacetime, except that there is more information about the shelter. As for the information about the shelter, everyone does not need to be too shy. The main thing is to explain your talents and abilities. As for what is in the shelter, everyone can keep it for themselves. As long as it is not harmful, the higher-ups will not ask. But if there is anything that violates the rules or is helpful for rescue, everyone must take the initiative to explain and obey the arrangements. Sister Lee was doing the registration work while patiently introducing each survivor. This time's registration process is generally much more relaxed than the last time. The last registration group was for the survivors in the community. In Jiang Xiaozi's development plan, the closer the area is to Sui on the physical level, the stricter the control will be, so no shelters are allowed in the community. They must be destroyed and all materials must be handed over. This is a hard rule. Sister Lee and others have already communicated with this group of survivors and done a good job of comforting and ideological work. As for the survivors outside the community, since their gathering place is far away, even if there is a threat, it is not great. In addition, there are many people. In order to appease people, the destruction of the shelter is not considered for the time being. But the talent registration must be honest, Jiang Xiaozi has already considered it. Since the leader emphasized that most survivors have their own different shelter talents, it is obviously possible to make long-term coordination and planning arrangements, use different talent types as a benchmark to arrange the specific work content of the survivors after joining the gathering place. To put it simply, combat talents are responsible for supporting the army's battles. Auxiliary talents assist in the collection and supply of materials in the gathering place. In short, no talent is allowed to act recklessly in the gathering place with their talents. All talent use and deployment need to be uniformly managed and task assigned. Private use is not allowed. Threatening the collective is not allowed. Concealment is not allowed. Sister Lee did not emphasize the specific consequences of violating the regulations. She only emphasized the content of these military control regulations, which everyone must remember and cannot violate, because Sister Lee herself knows very well that as long as these are made clear, most survivors will not violate the military control regulations, although some of the regulations seem a bit strict to Jiang Xiaozi and may lead to civil unrest. Sister Lee does not think so. Who are we? As long as the superiors guarantee safety and provide food and accommodation, everything is easy to say. It's just talent, just tell me directly how to use it, absolutely obey. This is thanks to the country's vigorous popularization of basic education in peacetime. High-quality people are easy to talk to, everyone is not stupid, and they all know that they should stick together in special times to overcome difficulties. What's more, most of the survivors who can take the initiative to find the army have average talents. In Sister Lee's registration, basically most of the talents are D-level and C-level, even B-level talents are rare, and A-level talents are not seen. Any survivors with more talents would have done well in the early days of the apocalypse and would not have considered seeking protection from the army first, but it cannot be said that these lower-level shelter talents are completely useless. It can only be said that they cannot independently provide the independent operation of a shelter, but each talent itself still has good effects. For example, there is a D-level talent, bread tree, which directly creates a small and portable bread tree for the gifted person. He can give 7 loaves of bread a day and eat 1 to fill his stomach, but this thing, as long as it is full, it will not die if there is no water to drink. Even if you put bread on the trading platform to buy water, at most you can ensure that you have enough to eat and drink, but the development of the shelter will have a problem with food. There is no electricity or refrigeration. If you are unlucky and cause a disaster, you will still die. Even if you don't encounter it, the weather is so hot, one day your body will not be able to hold on anymore, and you will die at home without anyone knowing. Even if the heat doesn't kill you, if a mob comes to snatch supplies, can you protect yourself? For example, there is a sea-level talent, constant temperature halo. The body of the talented person is always maintained at a suitable temperature for the human body, and the temperature of the surrounding small area will also be adaptively adjusted at any time. This talent is very good, at least it's hot enough, but I didn't eat or drink. There is nothing that can be exchanged on an online trading platform. At most, I can go out to find supplies by myself without fear of the poisonous sun, but there are thugs everywhere outside, and most of the supply points have been evacuated and occupied. Over time, it will be difficult for this talented person to survive alone. The effects of these small talents are divided into categories. One alone may not be very good, but if they are combined with each other, the effect will be completely different. The extra bread is given out, and the extra water is given out, so that each other has no worries about eating and drinking. When you're done, let the constant temperature halo act as a patrolling security guard. If you have nothing to do, just wander around in the crowd and become a self-propelled air conditioner. With this simple arrangement, everyone's life can be enriched. Many gifted people understand this problem, and they also know that cooperating with each other's shelters may be the way to survive, but the difficulty is that people are unpredictable in the end, and no one trusts anyone. What if I gave you bread and you didn't let me enjoy the coolness? Once there is a gap between people's hearts, they will naturally not be able to fully trust each other, but with the military under control, it's different. The army mobilized the whole field, undoubtedly acting as a manager plus middleman, ensuring the credibility of a large number of small shelters to stay together for warmth, and also providing the most scarce security issue for most talented people. in this way, there will be a solid and feasible foundation for the collaboration and unity between talented people of all sizes. Most survivors can figure these out for themselves. It's obviously something that's good for you. Who wouldn't want to? Therefore, even though thousands of survivors poured into the community to register, the whole scene was still orderly and calm, and the people were not chaotic, which fully demonstrated the excellent qualities of the people of a large country in the face of crisis. During Sister Lee's registration, Sui stood by the window and scanned the crowd, while paying attention to the color of his watch from time to time. A touch of red, not obvious, this was also expected by Sui. Thousands of survivors poured into the gathering place. It was impossible to completely trust the gathering place at the first time. It was inevitable that there would be survivors with their own little thoughts among them. Xiaozi, how do you plan to arrange them? Sui asked without looking back. Jiang Xiaozi stood behind him dignifiedly, lowered his head and said softly, Sir, I plan to allocate expertise, supplemented by the construction of ideological work, and strive to make everyone available to you within a week. 1 week, isn't it too short? I'm afraid people's hearts will be unstable. Sui tapped his fingers on the window sill and murmured, Xiaozi, there must be someone with evil intentions among these people. Xiaozi knows. Jiang Xiaozi nodded, his smile still gentle. Humans are social animals, and the collective influence is huge. Even if you are young, you will be refined by the collective furnace. Moreover, the multi-layered living system in our gathering place has begun to bear fruit. The girls who are the first batch of residents are the core layer closest to you. They are trained by me day and night, and will also serve as the first batch of managers of the community, followed by the survivors of the community, and then this group of new survivors. Even if they have bad ideas, if they want to harm the shelter and you, sir, they still need to bypass many difficulties. They also have to face suppression and deterrence from the military, as well as supervision and review of various shelter talents. Even if someone is lucky enough to get close to you on the physical level, they still have to face that robot and this almost indestructible room, sir. If under these conditions, someone can still hurt, sir. I think maybe only gods can do it. Jiang Xiaozi had no idea that under his strict institutional arrangements, coupled with the army and various scientific and technological projects, could anyone hurt Sui? This is almost impossible. From Jiang Xiaozi's perspective, Suyi's safety is almost 100%, and she continued to increase Suyi's safety, and while expanding the scale of the gathering area, she never ignored Suyi's personal safety issues. Sui nodded, I can rest assured that you will do the work. Sir, I approve, and my heart is full of filial piety and kindness. Jiang Xiaozi paused, then spoke softly, originally there were some shortages of food and drinking water, but I think since these survivors can survive until now, their talents are somewhat different, which may be able to make up for some shortages in supplies. Don't worry too much about food. Sui looked at the thousands of survivors downstairs and suddenly smiled, based on the number of people tonight, what I will get tomorrow should be a material reward. I just don't know if I will get the big prize again. Chapter 75 Another Big Prize. Growing Talent. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You must not be so lucky. How can you encounter big prizes every day? Sui was thinking in his mind that he just won a grand prize today and got an army of 500 people. Taiwan Novel Network. Circle them. According to normal logic, there is a high probability that there will be a small material prize at noon tomorrow, but even so, Sui can be satisfied. He found that his talent was a bit like making up for the shortcomings in the barrel principle. He regarded his shelter as a whole as a barrel. If there was a shortcoming in any area, his talent would immediately make up for it, add a little today, a little tomorrow, and gradually the entire barrel will become more and more indestructible. Xiaozi, do you have any other plans tonight? Well, sir, I don't expect anything serious to happen. Jiang Xiaozi reported carefully, Lin Yu is expected to come back in the middle of the night. Chen Qiuren is still guarding the offline trading location. The survivors recruited today should rest for half a day to a day, and then arrange new work. Under Jiang Xiaozi's planning, the entire shelter is developing in an orderly manner. What else can Sui do? Sleep. Sui turned around directly and made up his mind, we will wait until the talent reward arrives tomorrow. Sir, do you want to go to bed so early? It's getting late. Chinchurin asked me to give this to Sir, saying it would satisfy him. Jiang Xiaozi placed a big black bag on the table. Sui took a closer look and saw a stack of game discs and device handles inside. Huh. Where did Chinchurin get these? It is said that he received it during offline transactions. He heard that his husband loves to play games, so he carefully selected some and took some back. Jiang Xiaozi smiled and said, Xiaozi doesn't understand games, but Chinchurin is really interested. Well, he's a nice uncle. Sui was also very pleased. He was tired of playing games on the computer, so it would be good to try new games. After saying that, Sui walked to the table, opened the game disc in the black bag and looked at it. It didn't matter. Sui's expression froze. The game discs in front of him all had no covers, they were smooth and had no pictures, with only thick black markings written on them. AI Girl 2 TMOD Combination Pack, The Elder Scrolls, Love Laboratory Latest Edition, Classic Masterpiece, Winter Rhapsody, Karen Warden, Completed Edition, Nadia's Treasure, comes with full archive, touching masterpiece, Diary of a Younger Sister. Sui was stunned and stayed there for a long time without moving. Gentlemen, Jiang Xiaozi noticed something unusual and quickly asked softly, is there something wrong? That she looked at the CD in Sui's hand curiously. Judging from the names alone, there seemed to be nothing wrong with these games. Sir, is there something wrong with these games? Jiang Xiaozi asked. Chinchurin patted his chest and said that as long as he plays these games, he will definitely be moved to tears. Cry out loud. Are you sure my tears come from above and not from below? Sui was speechless. This madman is really indifferent. How could he be so filial to his leader? Just use this to bribe cadres. Indeed, they are all good games to make children cry. Sui nodded silently and put the game away silently. Xiaozi, aren't you going to do something? Well, if you want to rest, Xiaozi will accompany you. No rush, I'm not sleeping yet, go ahead and do your work. Sui looked serious. The shelter has just got on the right track, and all development depends on you, filial piety and kindness, those who can work hard. You are tired. For Sir, filial piety and kindness are not tired. Jiang Xiaozi was eye-smart. After smiling, he turned and left the room, leaving the quiet and private space to Sui. Chinchurin. Sui took a deep breath and started to assemble the game equipment with his head down. You really impressed me. That a night of silence. After dawn, Chinchurin led his team back from the shelter after a dusty journey. He left some soldiers and survivors to maintain order in the offline trading market during the day, while he returned to the shelter with some new gadgets. As soon as he entered the community, Chinchurin couldn't wait to walk into the main building and shouted, Miss Jiang. Has the boss gotten up yet? I've brought a new gadget, it's so fun, the boss will definitely be satisfied. Sir, Jiang Xiaozi had just arranged a new task for the day with the girls. She stood in the hall and pointed upstairs. Sir, it seems that he hasn't slept all night. He shouldn't lie down yet. I'll take you up. Didn't you sleep all night? Chinchurin's eyes lit up, and a lewd smile appeared on his lips. Hey, the boss must have had a great time. It's not okay to go on like this. My body can't bear it. I need to find some prescriptions for my boss to replenish my body. Chinchurin, what are you muttering about? Jiang Xiaozi turned to look at Chinchurin suspiciously. Huh? I didn't say anything. I was wondering, how about the medicine reserves in our shelter? Chinchurin said with a righteous face. You know, I am a doctor, and I am very concerned about the reserve of medicines. This is related to the health of everyone in the shelter. Jiang Xiaozi nodded. The reserves are quite sufficient at present. If you have any special needs for medicines, I will ask Lin Yu to collect them. That's great, I'll make a recipe for you later. Chinchurin laughed. This recipe is for the boss. They are all good things. We must pay attention to them. Oh, Jiang Xiaozi raised his eyebrows and nodded, I will take it seriously. Jiang Xiaozi will keep anything about Sui in mind. While discussing the things in the shelter, the two walked to the 6th floor. Chinchuran couldn't wait to bypass the robot guarding the door, knocked on the door and pushed it open. Boss, I'm back. Hey, why don't you lock the door? It's not good to play games without locking the door. What if someone sees you? Jiang Xiaozi heard this from behind and was a little confused. It's just playing games, why do you have to lock the door? Chinchuran stepped into the room, but his shouting voice suddenly stopped. Boss, are you having fun? Hey. Boss. What's that look in your eyes? Chinchuran was a little panicked, and Jiang Xiaozi hurried forward a few steps. She saw that Sui was sitting on the sofa, his expression was extremely serious, and his eyes were gloomy and staring at Chinchuran. In front of him, there were dozens of CDs, scattered assembled game equipment, screens, and controllers. Boss? Chinchuran was a little nervous under Suyi's vicious gaze. He swallowed his saliva and murmured tentatively, is this too much fun? Too much fun. I'm so confused. Sui was furious and picked up the controller and threw it at him, but Chinchuran dodged it flexibly. Look at what you brought. Sui pointed at the CD and said angrily, Calabash Brothers. Transformers. Legend of Nezha. Avengers. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. What's wrong? I really lack childhood. Haven't I seen these movies and cartoons? Chinchuran was also confused. He rushed over and put the CD into the device in disbelief, muttering, it shouldn't be, I checked it before taking it, how could it be? It's him, it's him, it's him. Our friend, Little Nezha. A clear child's voice came out of the speakers, and a disheveled cartoon child appeared on the screen, with silk strips on his arms, wind and fire wheels on his feet, and bright eyes. Chinchuran felt his eyes go black and fell to the ground. He murmured in disbelief, Boss, I was fooled. I lost a lot. I bought these with 7 bags of instant noodles. Puff. Jiang Xiaozi couldn't help laughing. Although she didn't know what these were, she could roughly guess. Chinchuran, who was always free and unrestrained, and a killer doctor who claimed to be extraordinary, was also deceived by ordinary survivors this day. I bought a fake. Chinchuran screamed and almost cried, what the hell, I wanted to honor the boss, but the things I sent were parallel imports. He couldn't figure it out. What kind of world is this? Why are there people selling fakes even for this thing? You can't play with it if you hide it in your hands, why don't you take out the real thing? Chinchuran. Sui frowned and pointed at the door, go, work overtime. Hey. Chinchuran lowered his head, patted his butt, and stood up obediently, boss, I'm going to work overtime. I won't rest today on the weekend, I'm going to work. This time Chinchuran didn't protest against the unreasonable overtime at all, he was very conscious and turned around and left the room. He was afraid that he would be scolded again if he walked too slowly. Sir. After Chinchuran left, Jiang Xiaozi gently squatted beside Sui, with her little hand on his arm. Did you watch anime movies all night? How could that be? I'm not that bored. Sui rolled his eyes. I was deliberately trying to scare him, to teach this old man a lesson. Last night, I was watching the city chat channel, wondering which one of the mysterious people in the city center is on the list. If you are worried, I'll ask Lin Yu to send a team to sneak into the city center to check. Jiang Xiaozi suggested. Sui shook his head and refused, no, although we have a lot of troops now, there are many places to use them. Since the city center has no contact with us, let's maintain the status quo. The longer it drags on, the better it is for me. Yeah. Jiang Xiaozi nodded gently, stood up and said, Sir, I'll make breakfast for you. Xiaozi, you've worked hard. Sir, I should do anything for you. In the warmth of a morning, Sui slept for a while to replenish his energy, and soon it was time for the talent reward at noon. Sui expected that there would be a high probability that there would be a material reward at noon today, which would allow him to replenish enough food to cope with the material supply problem of the thousands of survivors who joined last night. the fact was just as Sui expected. The talent reward type was material, but Sui did not expect that he would encounter a big prize again. Congratulations, you have triggered the advanced talent reward and obtained the A-level growth talent vassal guarantee. Chapter 76, Super Potential Talent. Direct Upgrade. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hiss, another big prize, 2 big prizes in a row, my luck is a bit unlucky. Sui took a breath and expressed joy. I didn't expect that the talent reward can actually give another talent. The name sounds like it should be related to material support, right? Sui quickly opened the shelter data interface to check his new talent. It didn't matter what he saw, Sui was stunned on the spot. Guarantee of vassals, A-level growth talent with unlimited growth potential, talent effect, you can contract with any resident of the shelter and reach a contract with them. The contractor will be regarded as a vassal of the talented person. Signing a contract requires the subjective permission of the contractee, and the other party must not have any resistance and cannot be forced. Contract. After the contract is completed, the talent owner can have partial control over the vassal's refuge, and can take effect in the 5 major categories of safety covenant, talent covenant, positioning covenant, material covenant, and mutual non-harm covenant, contract terms. Once a covenant is signed, it cannot be terminated. Safety covenant, the refuge of the vassal and the refuge of the gifted are safely bound. When either refuge is in danger of being destroyed, both parties must be in a state of irresistibility at the same time, otherwise the current refuge cannot be destroyed. Talent covenant, the vassal's sanctuary talent information is fully displayed to the talent. The talent has the right to allocate the output of the talent and the time of talent use, but the talent use process still requires the vassal to operate it personally. The vassal cannot disobey the talent. The vassal has control over its own talent, unless the mechanism determines that the current behavior will threaten the vassal's own safety. Location covenant, the location information of the vassals is fully disclosed to the talents all day long. The talents can choose whether to disclose their location information to the vassals. Material covenant, the material information of the vassal's shelter is completely disclosed to the vassal. The talented person has the right to allocate half of the materials. The talented person can choose whether to disclose the material information of his shelter to the vassal. Mutual non-injury covenant, the 2 parties who signed the contract shall not cause any form of mutual harm to each other, unless allowed by themselves, including but not limited to talent units, shelters, shelter residents themselves, etc. Requirements for the next talent growth and upgrade, successfully contract 1,000 vassals. Currently 0 vassals have been contracted. What a powerful talent. Sui took a breath and widened his eyes. Although this doesn't seem to be a material resource talent, it's still too powerful. With this talent in hand, I don't have to worry about the survivors sabotaging or rebelling. Moreover, the safety of my own shelter is also greatly guaranteed. Sui likes the content of safety covenant very much. For the vassals, this thing is 1-to-1. But for Sui himself, as long as the more vassals sign, the more unlikely his refuge will be destroyed. If Sui signs 1,000 vassals, according to the content of the security covenant, Sui's refuge can only meet the conditions for destruction unless 1,000 contractors and Sui himself are in a state of irresistibility at the same time. Is this possible? This is simply too difficult. As long as Sui hides a few people, even if Sui's refuge is invaded, it cannot be destroyed. The most important thing is that with this talent in hand, Sui does not need to destroy the residents' shelters at all. Sui had discussed with Jiang Xiaozi before that he felt it was a pity to destroy the shelters in the entire community. If these shelters were used for his own use, the overall strength would definitely be strengthened. At that time, Jiang Xiaozi, for the sake of Sui's own safety and future risks, firmly disagreed with Sui's idea, thinking that Sui was too soft-hearted, but now, there are no hidden dangers to worry about anymore. The more shelters I sign, the more shelters I can develop. Although the talents and development potential of some shelters are average, so many shelters listen to me, and if you add them all together, hiss. Unrivaled. Simply invincible, that even if Sui thinks about it with his toes, he knows that the potential of this talent is definitely not as simple as a level, if you really think about it seriously, this must be at least the potential of an SSS-level talent, right? I'm making a lot of fucking money, Sui murmured. He no longer hesitated and immediately stood up and called Jiang Xiaozi. Sir, breakfast is not ready yet, are you already hungry? I will give it to you. I'm not going to eat. How can I have time to eat now? I have more important things to do, Sui called Jiang Xiaozi and relayed the general information about his talent. Jiang Xiaozi's beautiful eyes suddenly lit up. There is such a method. Sir, you are truly the son of destiny, so you are so blessed with such auspiciousness. Jiang Xiaozi instantly understood the key to this talent. She no longer cared about serving Sui and hurriedly went downstairs to prepare. A few hours later, Jiang Xiaozi quickly and efficiently prepared the detailed regulations and cancelled the outing mission of the collectively owned shelter personnel in the morning. She took advantage of the lunch stall to gather everyone in the gathering place in an open area of the community, read out the latest living rules of the gathering place, and also announced part of the contents and information of the signed contract. In order to ensure the survival and safety of more survivors, the chief decided to make full use of the shelter mechanism, gather the power of shelters, and make an important contribution to the country's return to peace. Anyone who has a refuge needs to sign a contract, use the contents of the refuge mechanism, and become a vassal under the leader's refuge. In this way, we can not only protect everyone's refuge, but also gather the efforts of tens of thousands of people. We will recognize the legitimacy of collectively owned shelters as private property, but they still need to be managed and dispatched uniformly. This law can prevent anyone from using the shelter mechanism to do evil things that endanger our compatriots. Through Sister Li and others, Jiang Xiaozi fully stated the stakes of the vassal's talent, emphasizing that this was done for the sake of collective safety. Jiang Xiaozi's words took a long time, but they all summed up to the same meaning. The chief recognizes everyone's refuge and does not forcefully destroy it or ask everyone to lose it. However, the shelter mechanism itself has great uncertainty. In case of unpredictable events, some people want to use the development of shelters to do bad things that harm the collective. The collective will be harmed, and the lives will be threatened by everyone. Based on this consideration, the chief decided to uniformly manage everyone's shelters and allocate materials, talents, etc. collectively. As long as everyone follows the rules of living in the shelter, we will not force you to completely dedicate your shelter, and everyone is allowed to retain their corresponding rights and private property rights in the shelter. At the same time, for the better development of the collective, the leader will allocate resources to focus on developing some shelters based on the talents and potential of different shelters to improve the collective's hope of survival. This gathering place does not force anyone to accept the terms. Comrades who do not agree are free to leave. No restrictions. Jiang Xiaozi was more tolerant this time. His methods were not cold-blooded, and he did not intend to destroy the refuge of those who did not accept it. This is mainly due to Jiang Xiaozi's grasp of the collective mentality. When this group of people came here, most of them were already ready to give up their refuge. Now that the chief has promised to protect everyone's refuge, he is also helping everyone grow. The only price is to obey the collective deployment. If there is such a good thing, can you not agree? Submitting to the collective deployment is also for the sake of collective safety and collective interests. Who cannot understand the weight and importance of the word collective? Jiang Xiaozi's decision met no resistance at all and was easily accepted by the new survivors. We all listen to Miss Jiang. You will definitely not harm us. The chief protects the people, we all understand. As the country faces a crisis, unity comes first. Whatever the chief needs, just take it. Grass, can it still leave a shelter? Can it also help me develop a shelter? Don't say anything, I agree with both hands and feet. I am an online article author. I want to write a book to praise the chief. Rebirth of the country helped me develop a shelter. The crowd was buzzing with enthusiasm and support. This is not only because the chief's policies are good, but also because everyone thinks that Jiang Xiaozi is not only beautiful, but also has a decent temperament, so they naturally like her. They didn't know Jiang Xiaozi's ruthless tactics behind the scenes, and they judged people based on their appearance, leading to more misunderstandings, but these small things are not enough to affect the overall situation. Jiang Xiaozi did not want to explain and announced with a smile, since no one has any objections, let's start dinner quickly. Everyone has a rest today. In the afternoon, under the arrangement of Sister Li and others, we will sign contracts one by one and join the unified deployment process. If you have any questions, you can consult the staff. The chief will definitely solve people's livelihood problems and life difficulties for everyone as soon as possible. Say it. Jiang Xiaozi waved his hand and motioned to the girls to clear the halls of several buildings and use them as temporary canteens filled with food of all kinds, although they are relatively simple cans, biscuits, etc. Being able to keep them full during the apocalypse is simply the most wonderful taste for some survivors who have not had a few full meals. Eating and drinking enough will help everyone take effect, and the effect will naturally be better. After the meal, Jiang Xiaozi began to operate the specific signing process. The process is very simple. All Sui needs to do is send an application to sign a contract to the person who owns the shelter. This does not require Sui to stand in front of everyone, as long as the application is within a certain range. The application can be issued, in order to ensure the subjective understanding of the vassals. The specific contents of the 5 major covenants will be displayed in front of the signers without reservation. Although the contents of the 5 major treaties may seem quite restrictive at first glance, they are not a big deal in front of everyone. We have grown up within rules and regulations since childhood. What is this kind of restraint called? We originally came with the mentality of not wanting a shelter, but now we can get our own shelter back and be supported by the leader to grow. This is a surefire business. What's more, as long as you sign the contract, the best benefit is that you will never lose your refuge. After all, if we want to destroy our shelter, we must first kill the leader's shelter. Look at those armies, who can do this? So, sign. In less than an afternoon and less than 3 hours, Sui completed the signing of all survivors in the shelter. No one is left out, everyone is attached. Congratulations. Already has 1,256 vassals. The talent meets the upgrade conditions and is being upgraded. The A-level vassals guarantee talent upgrade was successful. Become the paradise of S-class vassals talent. Chapter 77, Can Otakus also suffer from kidney deficiency? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Upgrade directly. Taiwan Novel Network. Sui sat on the sofa and jumped for joy. I got the talent at noon and upgraded directly in the afternoon. A-level talent became S-level. This grand prize is so cool. Let me see if there are any changes after the upgrade. Sui couldn't wait to open the talent content to check. After a rough look, he found that most of the information of the vassal's talent had not changed, but there was only one more covenant content. From 5 major covenants, it became 6 major covenants. Full stomach covenant. After the talent enjoys food and water every day, the vassal can immediately obtain half of the food and water eaten by the talent. This covenant only works on ordinary food and water without special effects, and if the vassal does not eat it that day, it will disappear. Immediately at 12 o'clock midnight. Fuck, a magical skill. Sui widened his eyes and was ecstatic. At first glance, this covenant does not benefit the gifted person, but it is very beneficial to the vassal. You can also get half of the food that the gifted person eats. This is simply getting a large amount of supplies out of nothing. If it is placed in the overall development of the power, it is simply a huge boost, which can greatly reduce the demand for survival supplies needed in the development of the power. Try it in the evening. No, have afternoon tea now. Sui couldn't wait to try it, so he called Jiang Xiaozi directly, told her the content of the covenant, and asked her to prepare a beautiful afternoon tea. After a while, a smoothie orange wine was placed in front of Sui. Oranges are produced in greenhouses, smoothies are made in freezers, and the wine is a small amount of Maotai wine personally mixed by Jiang Xiaozi, which happens to be able to invigorate blood and qi, making people more motivated to do things. Sui didn't say anything and started eating directly. With a spoonful of bite, the yellow-orange slices burst in the mouth, and the cool sweetness spread instantly. The delicate taste of the smoothie is like snowflakes in summer, gently melting on the tip of the tongue. Just one bite, Sui couldn't help but feel comfortable and narrowed his eyes slightly, feeling that every cell in his body was cheering. Xiaozi, it's so delicious, do you want to have a bite? No, sir. Jiang Xiaozi smiled and shook his head, as long as you are satisfied. As long as Sui likes it, Jiang Xiaozi thinks it's worth it. You are so versatile, I feel you can do everything, Xiaozi, is there anything you can't do in this world? Of course, sir, for example, I don't understand Li Ye's scientific research. Jiang Xiaozi said softly, and Chinchuran's poison technology, I don't know how to adjust the poison, I can only use some simple poisons. But I still think you are really amazing. Ordinary women can't compare to you at all. Sui admired and tasted the delicious orange smoothie carefully, and the faint aroma of wine filled his nose. Sui doesn't like to drink, but the alcohol in this smoothie is not offensive, it's light and shallow, and it has a unique taste. A smoothie is just a matter of a few bites. When Sui finished eating, he looked at Jiang Xiaozi who was wiping his mouth. Before he opened his mouth, Jiang Xiaozi already understood. Sir, I'll arrange it right away. Yes. Sui watched Jiang Xiaozi leave. After a while, he heard people's exclamations coming from the bottom of the building. Fuck. I received a reminder from the shelter, and I got an extra free afternoon tea. Hiss. This smell. This taste. Damn, there's also wine, it's so cool. Ah. Am I really in the Doomsday? Why do I feel like someone is using a cheat? This thing can be eaten in the Doomsday. I know what's going on. Miss Jiang just announced it on the building loudspeaker. It's the chief's talent. Whatever he eats, we can get half. Fuck. Chief, I beg you to smoke a cigarette. Please, the child kowtows to you, the child hasn't smelled cigarettes for a long time. Is this how the chief's talent is used? You don't have any pursuit. One person wrote in blood, begging the chief and Miss Jiang get married on the spot. Dude, you are very brave. What you want to eat is a little different from what everyone else thinks. Stop it, Miss Jiang just informed us that we can only limit ordinary food and water, nothing else is allowed. Just eat smoothies. It's already very good to have this stuff. Eat quickly, eat and work. Sister Lee just told me that our gathering place will implement a work point system. Whoever does more work will have the priority to be selected by the leader for development. Fuck. Then I will definitely be chosen. My constant temperature talent is simply invincible. Make me a central air conditioner, I want to be the sun. I want to save all living beings. Just a smoothie filled the entire gathering place with joy. The new residents all had smiles on their faces, and the survivors who entered the gathering place as residents of the community could only look at them with envy when they saw this scene. Compared to these latecomers, they seemed to be in a more embarrassing situation. Not only did the shelter disappear, but they seemed to be even more uncontrollable factors to the gathering place than the survivors, who were bound by the vassal rules. Seriously speaking, this group of people was very pitiful and were victims of the development of the times, but Jiang Xiaozi also had special arrangements for these people. They don't have many people, and they don't have a shelter, so they are more suitable to enter the same training process as the girls and become special personnel in the gathering place. Although there is no vassal's effectiveness constraint, Jiang Xiaozi is not worried about the means to ensure the loyalty of this group of people. She knows how to train for special positions better than anyone else. However, Jiang Xiaozi has been thinking about whether she should do this herself or let Chinchuran do it. Should they be trained into spies or killers? This is a question worth Jiang Xiaozi's consideration for a few days. While Jiang Xiaozi was busy with the development of the gathering place, Su Yizheng was lying on the sofa beautifully, opening the information interface of the shelter to check the next upgrade requirements of the vassal's talent. We need to sign 10,000 people next time. It won't be too slow if we keep going at this speed. We should be able to get 10,000 people before the end of the first round of the Doomsday, right? Sui pondered and muttered to himself. According to the mechanism upgrade of this talent, will the next upgrade become an SS-level talent? If an upgrade only gives a new covenant content, it seems that even if it is upgraded to SSS level, it is not too great. At most 7 or 8 covenants, it should not be the top level among SSS level talents, and it is still a bit worse than the Otaku talent. Forget it, as long as I can become stronger, I will make money. Anyway, it is a talent picked up for free, it doesn't matter. Sui is very open-minded. As long as he has the otaku talent, he will have new experiences every day is like picking up rewards for free, which is very refreshing, but things did not develop as Sui expected. In the next week, Sui felt that he seemed to be trapped in a kind of empty period after the luck ran out. In the week after the Vassal Talent Award, Sui did not receive any good talent rewards, for 7 consecutive days, all of them were standard C-level talent rewards. They were 4 material production rewards, providing food and water, and the amount of each reward could only meet the daily survival needs of a dozen people. There were also 2 security talent rewards, a sniper rifle with unlimited bullets and a rifle with unlimited bullets. The last reward was not bad. Although it was also a C-level reward, the effect was very targeted: absolute defense bulletproof vest, C-level equipment item, damage to pistols, submachine guns, and low-power rifles is completely reduced. The defense level for damage to other firearms bullets is increased by 50%, hearing this name, does it sound awesome? This is absolute defense. But its absolute defense only defends against bullets. And they are all low-powered bullets. To be honest, combat talents like Wang Dainyu, who have several times the physical fitness, are not too afraid of the threat of bullets. In Wang Dainyu's own words, as long as the bullet didn't directly hit his head, he would heal himself and would not lose his combat effectiveness. But if you say that this item is useless, then at this stage, it is really useful and the effect is not small. But it can also be foreseen that with the continuous development of the vast shelter, this thing will definitely be eliminated quickly, and it may not even be as valuable as a rifle with unlimited bullets. Sui didn't keep it for himself, and threw the bulletproof vest to Lin Yu directly. Anyway, he didn't go out, so it didn't matter whether he had this clothes or not, but the continuous drop in the quality of rewards this week also made Sui clearly realize a problem. Is it that from the perspective of talent, my current shelter has no urgent parts? So I haven't given out big prizes and particularly useful things? Sui blinked and thought carefully, and found that it seemed to be the case. His shelter has formed a gathering place force. Judging from the number of residents, the quality of talents, the size of the army, the situation of talent skills, weapons and equipment, and the storage of various materials and medicines, it has already formed a certain scale. So far, in this week, Sui's army has basically not encountered any danger wherever it has been. Any thugs, seeing from a distance, will run away directly, and will not confront the army head-on. Most of the places where the army has set its sights on supplies have been taken without any injuries. Occasionally, a few blind talents who are confident in snatching them have died under the army's gunfire. The high-temperature apocalypse is not a big threat to Sui's gathering place, in addition to the situation where people who go out have heatstroke and coma. In the gathering place, since the power system has been restored to one building, everyone will take turns to rest and cool off in the main building area every day to ensure that they will not be persecuted to death by the high temperature. Considering all aspects, Sui can't think of what his shelter is still missing for the time being. But even so, it would be nice to give me a few more talent rewards. Even if it's just C-level talents. Sui has tasted the sweetness of talents a long time ago, which is so useful, let alone C-level talents. Even if it's D-level talents, Sui would like to have as many as possible, but the talent rewards are not given. Maybe the Vassal Talent's grand prize is too high, draining my otaku talent, and it's weak. Sui sighed. This week, not only was the talent not very good, but even the speed of going out to rescue the shelter did not go as Sui expected. After a week, the shelter only added about 2,000 people, which was completely inferior to the first day when he got the Vassal Talent, when he collected thousands of survivors in one day. But it was not Lin Yu's fault that he was not attentive. In the entire gathering place, Lin Yu's group of soldiers really carried out rescue operations sincerely, hoping to save more civilians, and Sui now has the Vassal Talent, and there is also a need to gather more survivors. However, it is not as expected. Survivors in many surrounding blocks are like missing, and no one can be seen at all. Even if Lin Yu went door to door to look for them, there was no trace, and some shelters were even directly destroyed, and people were gone and the houses were destroyed. Jiang Xiaozi has made an analysis. Combined with the intelligence currently in the gathering place, she believes that this is the work of the mysterious Big Brother in the city center. That person is in urgent need of a large number of people. Maybe the survivors in some farther blocks were collected by him. The talent is not good, and there are people who compete with me for population. Sui covered his head and lay on the sofa helplessly. Jiang Xiaozi sat opposite him, brought a glass of smoothie as usual, and gently advised, "Sir, I still suggest that Lin Yu send a team to the city center to take a look. Knowing yourself and the enemy can win every battle. We must always know the situation farther away so that we can make more detailed policy responses. I think Lu Rui's team is very suitable. He is good at reconnaissance and sniping and can complete this task excellently." "No, don't worry." Sui waved his hand. He took a deep breath, picked up the smoothie and took a bite, and then suddenly said, "Xiaozi. Ha! Today is the last day." Sui raised his head and his eyes became serious. "Tomorrow is the second round of Doomsday." Chapter 78 Rich Settlement Rewards. The second round of Doomsday breaks out. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this critical moment, Sui didn't want to do anything unnecessary, nor would he let people go too far away from the shelter. The second round of Doomsday. Jiang Xiaozi lowered his head in thought, and soon raised his head and asked, "Sir, do you know the specific situation of the second round? With intelligence support, we can be ahead of others." "I don't know." Sui shook his head, his expression was very serious. "I only know the time of the Doomsday rotation. If I'm not mistaken, it will be around noon tomorrow. Before my talent is activated, the second round of Doomsday will appear. No one knows what the second round of Doomsday will be like, but I may be better than the others. At least I will have an emergency opportunity for my talent at that time." Sui took a deep breath, looked at the red sun outside the window, and told Jiang Xiaozi, "Cancel all activities tonight and let everyone come back. Tonight and tomorrow morning, all members of the gathering place must stay in the gathering place and try to make full preparations. Whether the second round of Doomsday is a zombie crisis, an extreme cold moment, a meteorite landing, or a virus rampant, we must make corresponding preparations." Sui paused and said in a deep voice, "Whether these are useful or not, at least we have to do something." "Sir, I understand." Jiang Xiaozi nodded and hurriedly left the room. It is not just Sui who realizes this problem. Most survivors with a sense of time realize that the first round of Doomsday is about to end after a month. Many survivors who survived have just barely adapted to this kind of high-temperature climate, and will soon usher in a new Doomsday. College teachers in the gathering place collectively analyzed that if the second round of Doomsday is an extreme cold climate that is opposite to high temperature, it will cause great harm to the human body, from barely adapting to the high-temperature environment, and then falling into the extremely cold climate below zero in an instant. Many ordinary human bodies may not be able to withstand such a drastic change, resulting in death on the spot. Of course, everyone's discussion is far more than just this Doomsday. In human imagination, many possible Doomsday situations have been proposed, all of which pose a great threat to human survival. The more people in the gathering place discuss, the heavier their mood becomes. Sui heard these discussions through the monitoring system of the shelter, and his mood was also heavy. But under this external pressure, humans cannot resist and can only silently wait for the arrival of a new round of crisis. Time passed by little. When night fell, all the people in the gathering place began to enter the intense preparation work under the dispatch of Jiang Xiaozi. In fact, Jiang Xiaozi had made corresponding preparations as early as a week ago, but due to the insufficient productivity of the gathering place, many response measures could not be prepared in time. Even now, there is little that people can do. Most people can only stare in the dark and stay awake until dawn. The same is true for Sui. After the red sun reappeared, time gradually came to 11 am. Suddenly, that mysterious voice that had not sounded for a long time suddenly appeared in the ears of every survivor in the world. The first round of Doomsday, extreme heat. It is about to end. Congratulations to every survivor who survived, and the settlement reward for the survivors will be carried out now. After this global notification message, a new prompt message appeared in front of all survivors. The same is true for Sui. Shelter detection is in progress, you still have a shelter. Shelter reward is not triggered. Shelter reward, not triggered, this is the basic reward for surviving the Doomsday. If you lose the shelter, but you survive, you will regain the nearest vacant room in the stage settlement to become a new level 0 shelter, and regain the talent. Accumulated survival points are being detected. You have accumulated more than 10,000 points, successfully obtained the first-tier survival points accumulated income reward. First-tier survival points reward, automatically sent to the shelter storage space. After opening, you can randomly obtain a CB level full category reward content, including but not limited to humans, items, talents, skills, etc. Ranking list information detection in progress. You have accumulated 7 regional rankings, namely mechanism material ranking first, talent number ranking first, talent level ranking first, prop number ranking first, talent level ranking first, shelter level ranking first, shelter comprehensive combat power rating first. Some unopened ranking information will be announced after the second round of Doomsday. When you have the first ranking, the other rankings are not counted. Based on your current ranking results, you have received 7 regional ranking first exclusive settlement rewards. Regional ranking first exclusive settlement reward, automatically sent to the shelter storage space. After opening, you can randomly obtain a BA level designated category reward content, cannot be designated as talent category. In the first round of Doomsday, your survival performance is comprehensively scored. Your final score is S level. Comment: you have almost surpassed the expectations of the first round of Doomsday and have survived the current Doomsday, and established a shelter gathering place of initial scale. You did not waste resources and have a tenacious will to survive. Congratulations! Based on the comprehensive score, you have received a reward, a random S-level reward. All rewards are sent to the storage space of the shelter and can be opened after the second round of Doomsday. A long list of reward settlement information appeared in front of Sui, which dazzled him. The first thing that appeared was not the announcement information of the second round of Doomsday. The stage settlement of the previous round should be carried out first. Sui took a rough look at his rewards, which were indeed very rich, but he was not in the mood to celebrate these now. He was still silently waiting for the announcement of the second round of Doomsday information. Compared with Sui's silence, the other survivors in the building were much happier. Cheers were heard from time to time, and some even cried and were very excited. I got the shelter again. God gave me another chance. Great! Great! Praise the mechanism. Humans always know the preciousness after losing it. In the first round of Doomsday, in addition to the survivors who passively lost their shelters, many people gave up their shelters on their own initiative. A considerable number of people did not attach importance to the existence of the shelter, or question the Doomsday situation. By the time they realized the importance of the shelter again, they had already lost it, and it was too late to regret. But no one expected that the most basic survival reward in the first round was to give a new shelter. Although the humans who regained the shelter developed later than many survivors with shelters, and the progress was 1 month slower, it was at least better than having no shelter. Moreover, if you get a better talent randomly, it is not impossible to overtake others. When many survivors in the building were celebrating this, the mysterious voice sounded again. The settlement rewards for the first round of Doomsday have been announced. Now start the second round of Doomsday. The disaster of man-eating fungi. That with the disappearance of the mysterious voice, the world returned to peace. After a short silence, the discussion of people in the hall of the corridor sounded again. Is that the end? What about the second round of Doomsday? How to start it? Has it started? I don't know. What kind of Doomsday is this? I've never heard of it. Isn't the second round a climate-related Doomsday? Man-eating bacteria. It sounds very restraining to us humans. It's probably some kind of bacteria that feeds on humans, right? Is it an infectious disease Doomsday? Damn! How to prevent it? This thing is more terrible than the high-temperature Doomsday. It might be a global extinction. Many knowledgeable survivors were discussing nervously and panically, and Sui upstairs was also thinking carefully. he opened the shelter information and tried to find some clues from it, but he couldn't find it. The mysterious existence basically doesn't give too much detailed information about the Doomsday, and it all depends on humans to explore it. This has been shown since the first round of high-temperature Doomsday, the first round of high-temperature Doomsday also broke out suddenly, catching humans off guard. In confusion, they forced themselves to endure a month of global high-temperature baking. It seems that the second round of Doomsday is also like this. What exactly is man-eating fungus? What specific threats does it pose? Is it bacteria, or a larger bacterial body? I'm afraid that guy won't tell us. Sui frowned, thinking back to the first round of high-temperature Doomsday, and couldn't help but glance around the room vigilantly. According to the situation in the first round, the second round of outbreak should also be sudden. It is very likely that the man-eating fungus has approached me, through the air. Or attached to other objects. What does it look like? Just as Sui was thinking vigilantly. Suddenly, a shrill scream sounded in the lobby of the building. Chapter 79 Man-Eating Plants. The whole city is occupied. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ah! My hand! It's biting my hand. After the frightening and shrill screams broke out, Sui suddenly became nervous and rushed to the monitoring equipment in the room to check. In the surveillance screen, Sui could clearly see the crowd in the hall in chaos. Everyone gathered around a man whose right hand was broken and bleeding. He was rolling on the ground in pain, and his broken right palm was attached to the wall. What the hell is that? Wang Dania yelled in the crowd and pointed at the wall. The crowd also moved away in fear, as if there was something scary on the wall. Sui adjusted the surveillance camera and after zooming in, he found that it was a layer of strange, slippery dark green objects attached to the wall. It spread silently and continued to expand visibly to the naked eye. By the time people discovered it, it had already covered an entire wall without even realizing it. Its appearance looks like ordinary lichen, or some kind of carpet, with an ominous aura. The man's severed palm was attached to the wall. To be precise, it was firmly absorbed by the green fungus carpet. Countless small waving tentacles stretched out from the slippery carpet, and they wrapped the severed palm crazily. Devouring hungrily, in less than half a minute, an adult man's palm was swallowed up by the fungus on the spot, and everyone was even more horrified to find that as the man's palm was swallowed, these green carpets seemed to be infused with more nutrients and began to grow wildly. They began to spread out of the walls at a speed visible to the naked eye, toward the floor, toward the ceiling. They were constantly getting closer to the crowd. It's like a group of ferocious beasts that have found their prey. Danger is approaching quickly. This is a man-eating fungus, something that eats people. It's not an infectious disease, it's a fucking plant crisis. Shoot! Shoot quickly! Frightened screams came from the crowd, and everyone panicked. Only the calm people loudly reminded the surrounding soldiers to shoot quickly. The soldiers did not fire immediately, but quickly came out to defend the crowd behind them. Later, Lin Yu decisively ordered, "Test the attack. Stop them from getting close to the crowd." Bang! Bang! The single pistol bullet came out first. The fiery bullet spun through the air and hit the wall, making a puff sound. Sui looked very carefully through the ultra-clear camera. The bullet successfully penetrated into the wall's carpet, sputtering out green juice. On the surface, it did not cause any effective damage to the carpet. On the contrary, it irritated the bacteria carpet, causing it to continuously extend its tiny tentacles, trying hard to break away from the main body and stretch in the direction of the soldier who fired the gun. Wang Dania held a saber and cut off these tiny tentacles immediately. When they were separated from the creep tissue, they fell to the ground and were still alive, twisting wildly. The crowd shunned away, staring at the tentacles on the ground with fear and nervousness. After a while, they turned into a pool of green juice, and then, under the evaporation of the high-temperature climate, they quickly turned into a wisp of green mist and dissipated in the air. Bullet attacks have little effect, but these things seem to die on their own after being separated from the main body. Jiang Xiaozi looked at Lin Yu while making analysis. Lin Yu looked serious and ordered sternly, "First team, bayonets. Cut them off." Yes. 10 warriors came out, armed with sabers, and walked towards the fungus carpet without fear, slashing with their sabers from a relatively safe distance. They smoothly cut off part of the fungus carpet on the wall and let it fall to the ground. Sure enough, it turned into green juice and evaporated on the spot. But the damaged part of the wall carpet that was quickly cut off quickly grew back visible to the naked eye, just like a gecko with a broken arm that can quickly heal its injured body. It has a very strong recovery ability and is very lethal to humans. It is relatively difficult to deal with. Jiang Shaozi frowned slightly and murmured, but if it's just like this, it doesn't seem to be too difficult to control. We still need to try more methods to find the most effective way to restrain this group of bacteria. At this moment, the door of the building was opened, and several soldiers quickly ran in from the outside and reported in a deep voice. Report. There are many green unknown vines outside, which are also suspected to be mushroom carpets. We don't know it, but it seems to be very aggressive and will extend its tiny tentacles to attack living people. Lin Yu looked at the soldiers and asked in a deep voice, how many are there outside? A lot of. A communications soldier took out the drone monitoring equipment he carried and showed it in front of Lin Yu. She and the soldiers around her saw what was outside the building on the communications screen. A large number of fungus blankets have covered most of the roads in the community, and green fungi have also appeared in the green plant areas of the community. Even outside every building in the community, there is a carpet covering and spreading. Even the streets in the distance are not immune. Under the drone's bird's-eye view search, wherever the drone sees is a vast ocean of green. The whole city seemed to fall in an instant. This group of weird plants appeared out of nowhere and covered most of the city in a very short period of time, and continued to expand to more hidden corners of the city, whether it's streets, buildings, sewers, city pipes, etc. These ghost things are everywhere. Wherever everyone can see, everything is densely green, filled with slippery and sticky fungi that are constantly squirming and spreading. This is too much. Jiang Shaozi's expression changed slightly, and she immediately realized the seriousness of the matter. With the crazy aggressiveness and terrifying self-healing ability of the fungal blanket, as well as the characteristics of rapid spread, this is definitely a terrible threat, no less than the first round of high-temperature doomsday. Continue to experiment with means to restrain man-eating fungi. Jiang Shaozi ordered Lin Yu. I will go to find the gentleman, his safety is the most important. Yes. Lin Yu nodded and glanced at the chief of staff beside him. Take 3 teams upstairs and make sure the safety of the leader. Team Lin, there are already 2 teams on standby upstairs. Keep sending people. He is our leader, and safety issues cannot be ignored. Yes. The chief of staff saluted on the spot and immediately called on the personnel to go upstairs. Wang Daniu at the side volunteered, Chief of Staff. I'll go too. I'm not afraid of these ghosts. I'll clean them up. Okay. The chief of staff glanced at Lin Yu and saw that she had no objection, so he reluctantly nodded and agreed. You come with me and lead the team to clean up all the man-eating fungi on the floor where the chief is. Yes. Wang Daniu was overjoyed. He relied on his strong physical fitness and was not panicked at all. Compared with the current danger, he hoped to get closer to the mysterious chief, the closer to the leader, the closer to the core of power. If the chief can appreciate it, then I will definitely be promoted. What? Why don't you worry about the current danger? Don't you think the chief will fall into the second round of crisis? What a joke. Even I, Wang Daniu, am not afraid of these fungal blankets. Will the mysterious chief be afraid? Will he fall here? Don't be funny. Instead of worrying about this problem, it's better to think about how to perform well in front of the chief. Chapter 80, The Sudden Change of Man-Eating Mushrooms. A New Crisis in the Gathering Place. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gentlemen, Jiang Shaozi rushed to the 6th floor without stopping, feeling extremely anxious. When she went upstairs, she had already seen the walls of the entire building. These terrible bacteria could be seen everywhere. They were not just attached to the walls and ceiling, they were even present on the handrails of the stairs, and human screams could be heard from time to time in the building. As long as someone accidentally touches these bacteria, even if they are just passing by, they will be violently attacked by the tentacles and the bacteria. He tore off some of his flesh and blood on the spot. Jiang Xiaozi saw these mushroom blankets and heard people's screams, and was extremely worried about Su Yi's safety. She knows better than anyone else that Su Yi's biggest shortcoming is his lack of strength. Compared with survivors like Wang Daniu who have combat talents, Su Yi's own combat effectiveness is not much different from ordinary people. His skills and talents are all effect-based, not combat-based. The crisis of human-eating bacteria that breaks out in the second round of Doomsday is exactly a physical threat that can directly threaten the human body. It is a special existence that ordinary people cannot resist. Sir. Jiang Xiaozi rushed to the 6th floor, but suddenly froze on the spot. She saw the robot standing at the door, her eyes wandered, and landed near Su Yi on the 6th floor. The distribution of germ blankets on the entire 6th floor is small, and they are scattered on the walls and door frames. There are not as many as downstairs and outside. In the master bedroom where Su Yi was located, there was no trace of germ carpet outside the entire door and the wall structure of the room. At first glance, Su Yi's room seemed completely independent and distinct from everything around it. Jiang Xiaozi paused. She saw a slight gap in the door of the room, and Li Ya's voice came from inside. Boss, based on the current situation, the shelter upgrade project can effectively prevent the spread of man-eating bacteria. This means that higher technological means can curb the disorderly development of human-eating bacteria. Although it is extremely aggressive to humans and has self-healing capabilities, it is at least much better than the spread of bacteria. I think its threat is probably on the same level as zombies. Although it is very threatening at the moment, it will only cause some trouble to the shelter and will not destroy our gathering place. If I have enough samples and experimental subjects, I may be able to analyze more characteristics of human-eating bacteria. Of course, my current analysis is not completely correct. After all, we have just come into contact with this special organism of human-eating bacteria. Amidst the exchanges between Li Ya and Su Yi, Jiang Xiaozi slowly pushed the door open and entered. Li Ya was sitting in front of Su Yi, discussing the surveillance footage they had just seen. Ha! Xiaozi is here. Su Yi raised his head, smiled and patted the seat next to him. Come on, sit down. How is the situation outside? Man-eating fungi have invaded the community, and our main building is not immune. Jiang Xiaozi lowered his head and reported, Sir, Lin Yu is sending people to deal with these man-eating fungi, but it's hard to say what the effect will be. It's okay, take your time. Su Yi nodded, research more and find a way to effectively deal with these things. There are also injured people who need to be closely monitored and inspected. It is best to hand them over to Qinchuan, who is a professional doctor. We still don't know whether the injured people will be infected with new diseases or something. I always feel that, the second round of Doomsday won't be that simple. Su Yi took a deep breath, turned his head and looked at the still red sky outside the window, his expression a little solemn. Have you noticed that the first round of high-temperature Doomsday is still there? Su Yi narrowed his eyes slightly and spoke softly. I originally thought that according to normal logic, since it is a Doomsday rotation, after the new Doomsday appears, the old Doomsday should disappear. But at the moment, it seems that my judgment was wrong. That mysterious existence didn't even think about making the first round of Doomsday disappear. It adds a new Doomsday threat to the first round of Doomsday. The rotation in Doomsday rotation may not mean one round at a time, it may not mean rapid rotation, it is even more likely that it is just a rotation for Doomsday wars and Doomsday disasters. Su Yi rubbed his temples and sighed deeply, it is really playing with us. The high temperature is still there, and there is another group of man-eating bacteria. These are just 2 Doomsdays. If there are 7, 8, or hundreds of Doomsdays stacked together, Su Yi can no longer imagine this scene. Then there will be meteorites falling from the sky, zombies running everywhere, fungus carpets dancing wildly, and high temperatures. How can humans survive? No matter how powerful the shelter is, it cannot withstand so many apocalyptic disasters at the same time. Sir, we should not worry too much about the future that is too far away. Jiang Xiaozi reminded softly, living now is the most important thing. living now only has a future. She was comforting Su-yi and also emphasizing the current crisis of man-eating bacteria. Take Li out. Su-yi was silent for a moment and took a long breath. Let Chinchuran and Li join together. For biological research and bacterial biology, they are the only ones we can count on at the moment. In addition, you previously compiled the peacetime information of the survivor residents and found all the talents in related fields. There is only one goal, to find out the characteristics of man-eating fungi as soon as possible, and find ways to contain and solve them. Even if we can't solve them, at least we have to use existing means to ensure the safety of our shelter. Su-yi's expression was very serious, and Jiang Xiaozi nodded in response, yes, sir. She didn't stay any longer, and quickly turned around and left the room with Liya. This time, Su-yi wanted to use the power of more human survivors to solve the crisis of the shelter in the second round of Doomsday. If Su-yi was alone now, he couldn't go through the path of reverse research on man-eating fungi, but with a large number of survivors in the gathering place, Su-yi could try to do it. He has resources and talents. So why can't he do reverse research? The benefits of a huge force will be reflected at this moment. At this moment, Wang Daniu outside the door was working hard to clean up the man-eating fungi on the 6th floor, constantly swinging his knife to cut off piece after piece of fungal tissue. However, although he worked hard, his mind was not on his work. He always took advantage of the angle from time to time to sneak a peek at the slightly open door. He could only vaguely hear the serious discussion coming from inside, but couldn't see the picture clearly. This is the chief's room. I guess I'm the only one in the whole shelter who is qualified to get close to here now. Thinking of this, Wang Daniu worked harder. Being closer to the chief is a special honor. He is worthy of being our chief. Look at the bodyguards at the door. They are all living people, but our chief uses robots directly. He is so burly. I wonder how this big guy compares to me. Wang Daniu also took a few glances at the robot standing at the door. For some reason, the robot's electronic eyes always fell on him. It stared at Wang Daniu without blinking, and there were several small gun muzzles on its shoulders pointing at Wang Daniu, which seemed to be very alert. If it were an ordinary person, he would have been stared at by the robot and run away in fear, but Wang Daniu was strong and brave. He was not panicked at all, and even disdained it. It's just a scare thing. Can it shoot me to death? The chief is in there. Everyone says that the chief is very wise and brave, and has a heart of a bodhisattva. I am the chief's soldier. If it dares to hit me, it will be dismantled and scrapped by the chief tomorrow. That just when Wang Daniu was thinking about it, the door behind him suddenly opened. Jiang Xiaozi took Liya to leave the room and go downstairs in a hurry. Wang Daniu also took the opportunity to see the furnishings inside when the door opened. In a room with almost a futuristic sci-fi texture, Wang Daniu saw a young man sitting on the sofa, seemingly thinking about something. Is he the chief? He is really young. Wang Daniu sighed at this moment. In the previous week, in order to avoid unnecessary trouble in the future, Jiang Xiaozi had already subtly explained to the people in the gathering place, emphasizing that this gathering place is not an official identity of the country, and the army is not the sons of the army, but because what Lin Yu did was no different from the sons of the army. Everyone just listened to it, and there was no big fluctuation on this matter. At this moment, Wang Daniu could only see the young man's profile, but Sui noticed a gaze coming from outside the door, and turned around and happened to meet Wang Daniu's eyes. Wang Daniu quickly put on a flattering smile, holding a saber, bent down and bowed to Sui. Seeing this, Sui stood up and walked out of the room and came to Wang Daniu. You are Wang Daniu, right? Sui looked Wang Daniu up and down. This was the first time he saw this survivor whose talent was completely opposite to his own. Wang Daniu was a little flattered, and quickly stood at attention and answered seriously, report to the chief. I am Wang Daniu. Don't be so serious, and don't call me that. Sui shook his head. Xiaozi should have explained to you that I am not a public servant, and I am just a survivor, but I just like to save people. I am the chief's soldier, so I must call the chief. Wang Daniu didn't even blink, and said loudly, protecting the chief is protecting the collective. The chief is wise, and rescuing survivors is a public matter. I admire the chief very much. Okay. Sui smiled and asked, what are you doing? Report to the chief, I am cutting man-eating mushrooms. Wang Daniu pointed his knife at the wall. The chief of staff asked me to do this, saying that it is to ensure the absolute safety of the area near the chief's residence. I will never let these things hurt the chief, I will definitely. Hey! Cut them off completely. Just like this, Wang Daniu said, and stretched out his knife to cut off the tentacles extending from the wall and dropped them on the ground. Well, do a good job. Sui nodded, just as he was communicating with Wang Daniu, suddenly. The riot downstairs, which had been quelled, suddenly broke out into new chaos, and a woman's scream was heard. Ah! Don't come over. Don't come over. Look at the wounded. There's something wrong with him. Damn, has he turned into a zombie? Shoot him to death, shoot him to death. Sui heard the noise and was alerted instantly, and quickly returned to the room to check. Wang Daniu held the long knife tightly and walked directly to the entrance of the corridor to block the road. Someone turned into a zombie. Come on. Kill you, all the credit. Wang Daniu was very determined, he would not miss this opportunity to perform well in front of the leader. Sui returned to the room and immediately checked the surveillance footage. He saw that the wounded man with a broken arm who was originally treated kindly in the crowd suddenly grew a large number of man-eating fungi from the broken arm, and the whole skin burst out with fine and dense tiny tentacles. In just a few blinks of an eye, a healthy living person instantly turned into a human-shaped man-eating fungus. He no longer looked like a human, his whole body was wrapped in dark green man-eating fungi, and every hole in his body, including the pores of the skin, was constantly emitting tiny tentacles, constantly flying and touching the survivors around him. This is caused by man-eating fungi. Sui widened his eyes and breathed a little quickly. Fuck. This thing is really not simple, the threat of the second round of Doomsday must be higher than the first round.